How do I even talk to you with that noise going on? Hey girls, could you stop please? They're so mad because they're no longer allowed in the garden because we have to start planting, and I don't blame them because their new little outside space that they're gonna have is not finished yet. So they're kind of just in the one main run, and it gets boring. I don't blame them. I'm gonna throw some like a big cabbage or a big lettuce or something. I'm gonna go to stop at the store and see what I can get for them. Just something to play with and occupy their time and keep them busy because there's not a lot of foraging going on in the space that you've been in for so long. We have officially decided that the winter sowing jugs can come out of the back of Dave's truck. He had them in there because he was keeping them from the frost for those few nights, and it worked perfectly because he could drive in the garage at night and then drive out during the day and open the back of the truck, and then they could get rain or sun or whatever. But I have just officially moved them all over near the garden, so hopefully if another frost comes, I will grab anything that seems tender or young. But for the most part, I'm just kind of hoping that these little greenhouses work as they're supposed to. I really encourage you, if there's something you want to grow and you just really don't know what you're doing and you just want to give it a go, just plant something. You can look at the video I made yesterday about planting in the salad tub. You can plant in milk jugs. It is so easy, and the amount of plants that I'm going to have is probably going to overwhelm me. All right, I just thought today we would just walk around a little bit. I'm going to do the garden tour today at magic hour when the sun goes down a bit, and then post it tomorrow because I do believe we're supposed to get a lot of rain. I'm looking around now, it's just absolutely gorgeous. This is the day that feeds my soul. All right, so I've got my potting soil here ready for some action. I just picked up these pots. We have a store called Ocean State Job Lot, and you can get some pretty well-priced pots. That's usually where I will get my pots. So I chose this very neutral color story. You can see here, these were $5, so I think that's a pretty good deal. Let me just put all these up here so you can see better. All right. So I've got those, and I haven't quite decided exactly what's going to happen, but this was a bust up here. These were supposed to be like a whole Monty Don display. I was so excited about it. And most of the bulbs have rotted, and that is just disappointing. I threw some pansies in so I'd have a little bit of color. Every now and then you can see like there's a little one that's like trying to come up. But then I have these over here, which again, some of them are doing okay. This one is gonna go up to the front stairs with the big pot collection, and then what I had thought I might do is just go through these and see if there's any bulbs that are still good, and then I could put those into these prettier pots over here. The original plan had just been that I was going to do something like this, but because I'm not sure that anything is viable, I'm just not sure that that's worth my time to do that. So I do think I might need to just go through those. I'm not sure. It's just one of those things that you come up against. You have a great plan, and then it probably isn't going to work out the way you thought. But I really love these, and so I thought if this collection here, along with a few of the terracotta pots, stayed on the picnic table and kind of transformed each season, that I would be really happy with that. And it would just be such a, pretty inexpensive. I kind of think of buying pots as a long-term investment. These will last, as long as I'm careful, these will last a really long time. I just struggle with terracotta. I don't find that it is the easiest thing to grow in. And so I am just sort of slowly kind of phasing those out a bit. Not that I won't use them. I'll certainly use them for something. So all of the winter sowing jugs are now here next to the garden. They'll either be going in, you know, the vegetable garden if they're food, they'll be going in the potager garden if they're herbs, and they'll be going in the front garden beds if they're flowers. And some flowers will go in the main garden. But now I just kind of have a handle on everything, and I will be able to fertilize them with some fish emulsion if they seem to need it. I don't know how our rose is doing. I don't know if you saw the video of Dave and I planting the rose, but I don't know how they're supposed to look because we've never planted a bare root rose before, but I'm not feeling like it's looking great. I just wanted to show you one of the, I saw somebody, these homesteaders that I must follow on Instagram, and they were featured in a magazine, and they were showing her winter sowing jugs, and she had like written all neatly and the date and everything, and mine are like, oh, whatever. All right, I have never opened one of these before. I'm gonna be quiet because it's gonna be loud and I may have to turn the volume down on this section of tape removal. So there's the kale. This is what it looks like. If I was growing it inside, it would probably be very similar. This is already hardened off. I won't have to do that process, which I really don't enjoy, of bringing things out, bringing things in, bringing things out for an hour, bringing things in, bringing things out for 2 hours, bringing things in. I don't love the hardening off process. Yeah, this is looking good. This is looking good. I'm happy about this. So let's just count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. This is 17 kale plants in one winter sowing jug. That is more kale than I would need, and you know, every plant won't survive. So once you transplant this into the ground, they're not all going to live. However, this is exciting, and any excess stuff, I'm thinking about what I'm gonna do. Like, am I gonna use grow bags? I'll certainly give things away to anybody that wants them. I'll have, you know, grow bags as an option. Let me get out of this weird. Move back over here. So grow bags will be an option, any sort of pots. I can tuck things like kale and lettuces into blank spots anywhere. It doesn't matter if it's like a vegetable garden, they can go anywhere. Herbs can get tucked in anywhere. They're a beautiful plant. Once they flower, they're great for pollinators, and so I'm very happy to use those as space fillers. And then I would really like to grow some dedicated plants for the chicken. And so that may be just a large grow bag that I start to tuck extra things into, extra herbs, extra kale, things like that. My mom made this. She made a bunch of them. And they're mostly for mason jars, but this is a mug without a handle. And I just thought, oh, I can actually walk outside with a hot cup of tea using this. It's a little loose on this mug, but not too bad. And then I was asking her to make some for friends, different colors, because they're wonderful. Button. I used to make Dave tea in those huge, like half-gallon mason jars. So I'd use like 4 tea bags, and I would put, I'll probably do this again in the summer, I would put lime juice and sour cherry juice in there with maple syrup. And he would drink it hot in the morning, and then he would let it get cooler, and he would just basically drink that all day. It was just this wonderful, like, hydrating tonic. And I stretched out the one that I had, the mug cozy that I had, and so I asked my mom to make me some more. And the last thing I wanted to show you was the ChipDrop pile. We've gone through quite a bit of it, but it is actually starting to heat up. and it is steaming, so we have to be really careful about what we put. You can see it's already starting to kill the grass, so Dave's working really hard to move it to the driveway. We've covered, let's see, the chicken garden, the iris garden, the rose border, the two front, I need to think of what to call them, the two front gardens, and then we've done one parking strip, and then we still have to do the other parking strip. So we have used a considerable amount, and then the rest we're just gonna let it sit, and it's gonna kind of decompose over time. Let me show you what happens when it decomposes. Let's walk over here to this pile. So this is a pile that was already breaking down at the place that gave it to us, and then we've had it sitting since, I think I got it in the summer, end of summer, and you can just see when I move the top away that this has broken down. So when we put the mulch, the wood chips on the vegetable garden in the walkways, we will not be using the fresh wood chips. We will only be using the wood chips that have already sat for about a year. And that's because we don't want the wood chips to rob the plants of the nitrogen, which can happen when you have a fresh mulch of wood chips. And so, try to get out of that bright sun. So we're gonna use this pile that I just showed you on the walkways, and we'd already put some in there, I think end of summer, and we didn't really know what we were doing at that time, and we did use wood chips that were very, very new, so they have broken down in there, and they, you know, the chicken have worked them over the winter, but it could be one of the reasons that a lot of my plants, a lot of my vegetables were small, were kind of stunted. So we're gonna be really careful this year, and that pile will just sit and decompose until we feel confident that we can use it. But the great thing about having so much is that we can go back over any of the flower beds at any time and add mulch. Now, I wasn't crazy about the idea of adding this right now because I had planted a bunch of seeds. I put snapdragons out there, I put poppies out there. It is possible that by putting this wood chip on there now that I'll lose those seeds, and maybe the poppies will just kind of sink in and come back in a couple years or next year, and I still could get them, but I had to go into it knowing very well that it was very possible that I won't get those. And it's worth it to get the wood chips on the ground to start creating just a beautiful environment for your plants. This is how we amend soil. We're not adding fertilizers. We're not, we're trying to work with nature. Like, what does nature give us? What is around us? And we're trying to do it for a very low cost, and ChipDrop allows you to get these wood chips for free, whereas buying fertilizer is very expensive. The one fertilizer I do buy is fish emulsion, which I've talked about. I do buy mycorrhizal fungi to go in the holes to touch the roots of a lot of the vegetable plants that I plant. I might do it with the 2 roses that are coming as well. And then just because we were laying these wood chips down and I had all the bulbs coming up, and I was just worried about how new and raw they were, I did end up putting down just a very basic fertilizer. I probably didn't do it thick enough because I only wanted to use 1 bag. I didn't do it in the parking strip. I only did it in those 2 front garden beds. So we'll see. It may not do anything. It may do a lot. I don't know. But I just wanted to just be careful about just thoughtful to the plants. I didn't want them to feel stripped of anything right now. All right, well, that is what's going on. I'm sending love to your hearts. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for all your support. Some of you have been sending some really sweet messages lately, and I think you just knew my heart needed it. My heart needed it. So thank you. Appreciate you.